Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures, Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, Top 10 Mammals to See on a Grand India Wildlife Adventure, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Arpita Dutta. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. Over to you, Arpita.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rob. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. And it's always a pleasure. And I feel very happy whenever there is a webinar day because I get engaged from the morning. I plan so much of things. I don't know how much the output actually I can bring, but I somehow gets very excited to share all these things with all of you. So when we talk about Grand India Adventure, actually we come across so many mammals, and especially we cover more than 100 species. More than 100 species of mammals. When we include all the 3 national parks and the areas we cover. But it's very difficult, to get to see all of them at one trip. Of course, it took me years, almost more than 15 years to come across most of the animals of these parks. And of course, when in this trip, we cover a lot of different types of forest, and that's the key secret of, getting to see so many animals together, because they find different habitats, to thrive in. And this is more like we get into the tropical deciduous forest, which includes the moist and dry deciduous forest as well, and also a part of the evergreen forest as well. And imagine in this kind of tropical forest, the misty winter morning and the different season and the seasonal changes in the forest, not only for the flora, but definitely for the fauna as well. And for us, it's a visual treat, no matter which season, but for me, I prefer winter a lot. And then we covered the Brahmaputra floodplain. This forest out here, which is Kaziranga National Park on northeastern side of India, it is mostly grown in the floodplain of a huge river, very rich and thick forest, evergreen forest are there, and also the plain or the grasslands are there. So over there, we travel like this, no foot, it's only the vehicle safari. And this is our tropical, that deciduous forest, which is in the central India. And it's also this in the located in the central India's highland. And there also we travel by big vehicles, like vehicle safaris. It is difficult to see the tiger here, but everyone turned around. You could see how excited everyone, though it was, to get the tiger, because it was behind the bush. And if you see where my cursor is moving, the tiger is out there, and we had to wait almost for 40 minutes to get a glimpse of this tiger, and that also, it just walked by beside us. How incredible that. Okay, and in these 3 national parks we cover, everywhere we do vehicle safaris. So there is nothing walking, because all the forests are tiger reserves, and also we have like bigger cats and other bigger mammals, which could be, dangerous. So it's always preferable, and it is also illegal to get down from the vehicle or even to put your leg outside the vehicle. So it's very strict in that way. So this is Bandhavgarh National Park, this is Kanha, and this is Kaziranga National Park. So everywhere you can see the jeep. This is only the bonnet, the hood. Okay, and because we come across so many, but while on a go, if you come across these animals, at least 80% of it or 70% of it, you can feel satisfied that, yeah, you have seen the bigger ones or the rare or the important ones, because there are many rare and endemic species are also there. The rarest are like the pangolins, the hog badger, and then you have the rattle, or yeah, the honey badger. Hawk badger, still you have little chance. Why I'm saying, because the last season trip we got to see it, though it was far and it was moving through the bush, but it was very difficult. Then we have fishing cats, leopard cats, jungle cats. So of course it's a whole different species of animals which are very, very rare. But yeah, these are the one where we have, or we can say that yes, we have the chance to see this. And yes, so it's a long presentation, so I'll just touch the little part about not even like 2% of about the animals, because it's all about that where and how you see it and which are the animals you come across during the safaris. So this is barasingha, or the hard ground swamp deer, which is endemic to this park, which is Kanha National Park. This park we visit like after finishing Bandhavgarh. So, and also, I mean, this is a large deer species which inhabits in this dry grassland and which is bordered by the sal forest. Sal forest is this one, where you see this. These are the tall, long one, almost thick trunk tree are the sals. Here it is. So yeah, where the grassland, and they are very selective about their food and the kind of grass they leave around. So this is the thing. And also like you can tell this particular deer as the crown of Kanha National Park, not only because of its presence, but due to its successful conservation story. And you know what, this deer, I mean, in around 1955-60, they were almost the less than 100. Now it has crossed thousands. So you can understand, once you come here, or if you have any questions, we can get back to its conservation story later. And also, this is the mascot, which is named as bhorsing in of Kanha National Park, and it's also the state animal for Madhya Pradesh, the central India. And this deer has 3 subspecies. One found in near the foothills, which is the Tarai Artland of Himalayas, and then we have the central India barasingha, the hard ground barasingha, and then we have the eastern swamp deer, which is the smallest among these 3, which we will get to see in Kaziranga National Park. But it is also present in different areas, but this hard ground is only found in Kanha National Park. So yeah, the male develop 10 to 12 tines in their antler, for which it got its name, obvious, like barasingha. In Hindi word, bara means 12. So that's how it got its name. And it takes, like for the juvenile, it takes 3 years to develop a complete antler. And you know, not only the antler, the deer itself look beautiful. The coat changes depending on season. This one is a reddish brown, though my picture is not that good, but it's very velvety finish far, reddish brown color during winter. And this grayish brown, it develops in summer with a whitish underpart, what you see here. And see, this is a younger one than this one. So see the tines out here. And yes, the male, like the male can, weigh up to 230 kg, and the female can weigh up to 150. But the females don't grow antler. They have a roundish ear, both of them. And they are like oversee. This is the Kanha, the side of the Kanha meadow, and this is in winter. This is a winter morning. See the grass and swamp land here, and these are all female though, but they are like multi-member groups are there, except during the rut, when there are multi-male and multi-female group that aggregate, and which can up to like 100 to 150 deer at the same place. and you would see so much of characteristic and so much of activities in them, in that group. You really, I mean, you get indulged into their way of walk, their way of communicating, and the rest. It's beautiful, and especially during the winter morning, how the backdrop is, and they look fantastic. And of course, I mean, they have a I mean, very extraordinary feeding habit. Generally, we see deer that they are grazing or like chewing on or browsing, right? But for this barasingha, because Kanha is also, very rich in flora and fauna, including the aquatic vegetations. For this particular deer, they get into the water body, and almost, this is only the face is down, but you will get to see that almost half of the neck is underwater, and they feed on those aquatic vegetation, and that looks beautiful. And sometimes there would be some water birds around, or for some disturbance they might get some insects or water bugs and all, which is coming out with those vegetations. So it's a whole ecology, you can see around this deer. And then of course, during the rutting season, they're like, they are very shy, and they don't get distracted unless and until they feel any threat. They just go behind the grassland, rather not in the woodland. And during the breeding time, you can see those male, I mean, how they are, during the rut. And sometimes you get to hear, because the forest is so quiet, you get to hear those tuck, 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 tuck sound of those antlers, banging with each other. And they don't stop there. They also decorate their antler to make it bigger or beautiful, and just go by near the female. And see, this is how the male follows the female, the nudge, they approach, and sometimes the female are very annoying, and that's a good thing to see. So here, what happened is the dominating male, like it's a polygamous mating process they follow, and the male will mate in that group of female in his harem. So this is how it goes. And if any outsider male comes in, so of course the fight and the race happens. And the best part about during the mating time or during the rut, they give a mating call. And just try, or in YouTube, that the mating call, or the mating call of barasingha or the hard ground swamp deer, you will get to hear it. It's very, very funny. Even at night, sometimes when you are sleeping at the lodge, you will get to hear that they are calling, try to impress the female. And yes, and with that, and so for barasingha, the chances of seeing the barasingha, one good thing about barasingha is it's used the same track. So after you may, like after a couple of multiple drives we do, so of course we might come across the same group, or we come across different groups in different areas, but there are high chances that we come across this the group of barasinghas, and maybe some big stags as well. But yeah, they are one of the species which really meaningful, which makes a good meaning to your whole trip, because it's endemic. Then next, with this barasingha, as we are going by the size, of course, looking at this, we can imagine, or we see that the bovidian, of course, it's pretty big than the deer, and one of the largest in the bovidian family. And it is like large, not only large, the whole physical appearance, it's very different from the rest of the bovidian, because of its, this hump. Though this is a young male, this hump over here, the ridge they have, the dewlap is growing. This is a young male, that's why. And they can like grow up to, they can weigh up to 1700 100, like 1.7 tons. So you can guess, you can have an idea of this species. And like both sexes are massive head, deep chest, and a muscular shoulder ridge. So here you see how it looks like. And the most distinct thing what you come across this bovidin is the white socks. See, all of them are wearing a white sock. So yeah, when I was young, to see this, that all that, I mean, how I got introduced is saying that they all, like, you know, always ready to go to schools with the white socks when I was around 5-6 years old that time. And yes, the horns were comparatively like small and curved outside first and then inward. And you know, the male had this dark brown glossy structure, I mean glossy hair. What do you see here? Oh gosh, look at the size, my gosh. And you know what, one important thing I would like to mention is this morphology. What you see here, I mean, in central India, they are still little smaller and more brownish, little brownish in size. But the more you approach towards the Western Ghats or towards the rainforest area, or towards the northeastern side, they are massive. I mean, though in spite of this huge size, they are very shy and very calm. Unless, of course, unless they are like tormented. But when you see those features of those rainforest area like gaurs, it is scary. I mean, no matter how calm they are, just approaching close, even a little close to them, it's scary because they are like double Hulk size. And of course, this muscle at the hump area actually controls the body weight as well. They are like braid. The muscle are structured like braid, and you see the dewlap here. Sometimes they touches the ground. They can be that big. You see, this is the side face, I mean side profile of the male. And yes, despite of this calm attitude, but when it comes to the mating race, this calm word becomes a myth because they size each other and you know, sorry, yeah, they size each other, they bellow for almost for hours. So it's a race, or it's a competition to win over the female. Though the females are very quiet, just take care of their calves and stay in a group from 5 to 15. Sometimes we get to see 24, 30 as well. And they are little coffee brown in color. Look at this. And yeah, you would see them into the grassland while they mostly graze. And this is how it shares the region with the spotted deer as well, which is another deer you will get to see there in central India. And you see, this is a calf, but after only 4 months, they develop this white socks. Else, they would be almost in the same tan color. It is difficult to distinguish the color here. So this is the female. You can see the difference, the color difference between the male and the size, of course, of the female. And yes, this is our vehicle, and this is a female and a young female, of course. And see, we have stopped there, and it gazed at us for a pretty long time, but didn't move. Just looking at it or trying to understand, as well as we are doing the same thing to understand its behavior. And that was literally very incredible to see it like this. With this, then comes to the dhole, which is the wild dog, the Indian wild dog or the Asiatic wild dog, which you can get a chance to see in Kanha and Bandhavgarh National Park, but it's very rare. So if you get to see it, it will be like another cherry on your cake for the trip. So yes, they have this, I mean, the rust-colored canid with thick, bushy tail, and like which is thriving in this fragmented forest of India and the subcontinent, of course. They are fearless, ruthless hunter, but unfortunately they are now facing decline. And only near about 2,000 to 2,500 individuals are remaining, and that's why I say it's very rare. So if you get to see it, it will be really a big achievement for your trip. And of course, look at this, look at the feature. It's this rusty brown, and of course their coat also differ from season as well as the habitat they are living in. More on the drier grassland, their coat would be little light, and when there is in a thick forest or in the winter, their coat would be more like reddish color and have the white underpart and have a narrow snout like this. But did you know that this canid, I mean, though those are like little different subspecies, we can say, but that today they are restricted to like South and Southeast Asia, this red part, what you see, but was widespread throughout Eurasia and even reached North America during the Pleistocene period. Can you imagine that? It was that widespread. But by the end of Pleistocene period, it went extinct in most of its former like distribution. Look at this. This probable ranges there, and they were like fall all over here, the historical, the range. And that the scientists have come with this data from this ancient DNA analysis of this Asiatic wild dog. So it's been incredible that they have lived even on that side, on that part of the world as well. And yeah, they like move in packs or in clan of 2 to 14 individual, but nowadays it is very difficult to come across the bigger number packs or clan, and they communicate and coordinate by this infrasonic whistle, exactly like the wild dog. But unlike other canids, they do ambush and chase their prey down over a short distance. But another interesting thing about this wild dog is their defecating manner. You know, they defecate. Look at this one. Sometimes they stand and do as well. I have seen it. They exactly how they are peeing. They even poop like that. They defecate in. They mostly defecate in the conspicuous places. You know, their feces are or urinate at the clank's territorial or the travel routes, and they don't even scrape their faces like other canines do. It's just open. Sometimes you will see it's like a latrine area for all the community. This is how they do a mess. They don't do mess with their poop, but all of them, the whole every clan member, they poop in that area, and which is in very open. And this is what a unique way to pee. Just see, it's funny to see it. And of course, these wild dogs are WWF and other conservation organizations are working on it. In Kanha also, they have radio collared 2 or 3 of them to understand their behavior as well as their approach or moving in different areas. But they are still thriving. Only 2 to 3 would be there. At least you would see, but mostly even if you see a single one, that would be good, because as the numbers are getting less, taking care of the pups are also becoming difficult for the female, and generally there are other predators for the wild dog as well. So that's how the number is declining, and especially the habitat is a big thing to do with this. And when there is a pack or there is a big clan, imagine they even don't get scared to attack or scare a gaur of this size. Even there are records that there's a pack of 25 to 30, but in many years back, even they have attacked tiger as well, but there are two right now, so it's difficult. So just see that how the tiger is giving a look to these wild dogs. And recently, even last year, there were a few in the southern part of India, in some national parks. There was some interaction between, of course, scary interaction between the wild dog and the tiger out there. If you search, you might be able to get to see the video as well. Their communication between the other wild dogs and the tiger out there. Yeah. So with this, of course, when the tiger has already arrived, and we cannot skip the part of it that how beautiful and majestic this big cat is. And of course, no matter how many animals we pick, no matter how many rare animals we see, but when we get to see the tiger, it's like an accomplishment of the trip or the feeling itself. So, and of course, when it rules the jungle, they roam around everywhere, into the grassland, into this thick woodland and a mix of grassland. You'll get to see it like this. Sometimes you might be able to see only the stripes, and they are camouflaged because of the stripes as well. And sometimes it will be in the middle of the track, including the bamboo thicket and with woodland. And sometimes you see them in the morning or evening take a stroll near the water bodies, or just moving around, marking its territory. And in summer, mostly we stop near the water holes because it gets too hot. Sometimes they come to drink water, and they all have almost a very close timetable. You know, this time they will come to this track, they might drink water, so, but not usually, but generally we try to like calculate those times, or during summer we stay more close to the water bodies, and you might come across that the tiger is drinking. This is from the last season trip. So you might see them drinking water, or you might see them the tiger is almost, you know, half submerged, only the head is out, and they're cooling themselves off. And yeah, sometimes suddenly you see a face coming just beside the track, because it's all like shrubs and vegetations throughout your track. And so you have to like keep your eyes open for every areas. And yeah, to reach to this beautiful enigmatic like cat, before, even if you see the cat, you might come across the pug marks. Here is the tiger pug mark. Here it is again on from the jeep. You get to see it, and this is how it is. And from the pug mark, you get to know whether it's a male, female, whether it's a fresh or not, and a lot more. Which way it has went. So a lot of data you can gather, and then you do the calculation and anticipation, and then you move towards that side. And with the pug mark, then sometimes you get to see, though this is an old scat, but you get to see fresh scat as well. And if it's a winter morning, sometimes you see the vapor or the mist is coming out from the scat. Then you know the tiger is right away. Maybe just few like meters ahead. So this is how you calculate the whole thing. And with all these tracks and signs, we have those animals which like give out distress calls when the predator moved by. And when you reach or close to it, you might see them in different ways. Like this one in Bandhavgarh, like kept us waiting for such a long time. It has shows a lot of yoga poses, but it didn't wake up or it didn't move. It just like laid down for this whole, I think, more than an hour. So ultimately it's a cat. Imagine your house cat. When it is a time for its nap, it doesn't know anyone. It's the boss. I'm sorry. So this is how you get to see it. and they are playful. So here you might see them, the sub adults or the cubs, they're playing, and at the same time they, I mean, you see tigers, if you get to see tigers are like fiercely, strongly protecting their territories through fight with other male or female. They are solitary, so it doesn't matter whether you are a male or a female. If you're coming towards the near the territories, there would be a fight. If you're crossing, if you're using that track to move into a different part, it's area. But if you're marking the same territory, then there is very possibilities that you will have a very bad fight. And when the tigers are fighting, the roar, the sound, I mean, even if you're far away, you get to hear them. They are like, it's so difficult to like make the sound, but just do watch on YouTube just by the sound when they fight. And of course, not only for the territory, they fight for the female as well. Sometimes 2 to 3 male would fight among themselves, and the female sometimes enjoy them fighting. Or sometimes, and even if it's a female territory and the male is trying to, mark the territory, then there would be a fight between the male and female. But if they're approaching for mating, and the tiger only approach when the female is ready to mate. So in that way, it's very disciplined and gentleman in way. But they would stick around for 5 to 6 days throughout the estrus cycle or the estrus period of the female, and they will mate around 200 to 250 to 260 times during that span, and and the male doesn't leave the female, like it doesn't like let her move little farther. So they will be near the water body, so they don't need to move much, and so that they can keep mating for for a longer period of time. And with that, she would protect her cubs. Last season we have almost 7-8 cubs in Kanha, and maybe next season we get really lucky to see few cubs grown up. Few would be near about a year old, and 2 of them maybe but around they will reach the sub-adult stage. So yeah, but still they are cubs, and they look fascinating. And especially the young bones are like cotton balls, rolling on the tracks. Anyway, let's not get into it, otherwise it's very difficult to stop there with the tiger and the tiger cubs. But yeah, it's very fascinating to see the mother and the cubs and how the cubs play together. With this, I'm leaving this big cat, or the largest cat, and then my favorite is the leopard. Of course, it's much smaller. I mean, imagine if the tiger can weigh up to 260 to 70. The leopard can weigh around 75 to 80 kgs. So in that way, it is very small, but that, they are more, I think, versatile and like the stealthiest hunter. And they have the largest range of all the big cats, these leopards. And of course, also they have the number of subspecies as well. And the same as the deer, the tiger, the canid, their coat also changes depending on the habitat as well as on the season. And mostly in the drier area, they would be much more lighter at the same way. And in the most evergreen forest, they would be darker in shade. And they have not only mastered, the camouflaging technique, but also the adaptability. And they also ambush. They can ambush from here. So here is one leopard out here. I mean, it's not there, but it was there. I mean, after that, it just moved, and then I could managed to take the picture. And from the tree also. And from the tree, they would target their preferable species or the particular deer, and they will just jump from the tree and just put the claws in, and it's a clean kill. The kill is done. And sometimes we get to see that it just climbed with the body, but over here most of the time in Kanha we haven't find much like the leopard in Bandhavgarh or in Kanha. We didn't find much that they have carried their carcass on the top of the tree. They would hide somewhere, or maybe they would go somewhere very off track areas. And but on this thing, as I said, they are very their adaptability is very high. So sometimes they like live in a very close proximity in for the human habitat areas. So sometimes in the villages area or near the where there are tea estates or in those kind of bushes, they sometimes leave their cubs and the female move around for their food and water, and sometimes they are lost. So there are organizations who are working on it to reunite, especially this story they have reunited with the cubs and the mother, and she took them back. That was a beautiful story. And yes, you see, the picture is not that good. I didn't get like pictures of the leopard and the cubs, but there are. So here are the distribution. It was well distributed, but of course, again, the habitat loss and fragmented forest. Their population is also declining. But now, in last few years, it says that the population has increased. That's how the data say, because of their adaptability, the capability of adaptation in different areas. Look at this. This is the city. This is a big city, and here you get to see the leopard, which is living so close. And of course, it is made by human. You can see here. So yes, over there, and of course, this is also there. They tolerate human better than any other large cats. They can persist in that area with high human presence or pressure, provided they are getting food. So this is like the street dog. They are feeding on. Just look at this, and they are so stealthy, so quiet, that even at night when the dogs are sleeping and stuff, they just take it away. And of course, with the leopard, mostly in this kind of forest, they are like knocked off from the top predator as tigers are present. So you can see how small the leopard looks like when it comes to a tiger. And yes, sometimes not only the tiger, but sometimes there is a face-off happening between the sloth bear and the leopard as well. Even when the sloth bear stands, it can weigh up to 5.5 to 6 feet. So yeah, for a leopard, of course, it's much more fast animal than the sloth bear. But look at this claws. Talking about the claws, let's talk about the sloth bear itself. And sloth bear you get to see in Kanha and Bandhavgarh National Park together. I mean, in both the national parks. But Bandhavgarh, the chances are a little high for both leopard and for sloth bears. But they are like forest dwellers. This is, of course, one of the 8 existing bear species in the world. And this sloth bear, like split off from the other bear species, roughly before like 4 million years back. And it's a forest dweller and inhabits in this tropical and subtropical forest. And it has this longest snout. Look at this, how big the snout is, with the long shaggy hair. And the bear is named because of its like lumbering gait, the sloth bear. And it has a V-shaped, V-shaped in the chest marking. They have long claws. Look at this. A lot of people die because of bear attack than tiger attack in the village areas. Of course, it's all accidents. It's not like knowingly they get scared, both get scared, and the attacks happen, or maybe the human didn't get to see it, and then it's. I mean, look at this. The sickle shaped claws, you know, and they have, even out of all the bears, they have the longest tail as well. And look at these leaps here, and this is the nostril. Just I have to over here, if you can understand better, see it covers the whole nostril areas. This is the lynch over here, and this is a loose lip which which is protruded over there. So why is this so? What happens is it feeds mostly on termites and ants. That's like the preferable food, and mostly as their diet. So with that claw, they actually break and dig the termites, and then what they do is they put their face, or they put their mouth in that hole, and they try to suck up the termites. And while doing that, this nostril part, this lips actually close the nostril area, and that's the reason why no termites get inside the nose. And also their front tooth is missing, and that's a good passage for the termites to just go straight away into the mouth. And the funny bear, of course, during we have been reading the Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Baloo is always funny, right? So here is a chest mark out here. So this is how it rubs its body against the tree bark. This is a sal tree. Look, so many fissures are there in this tree. So it's a good like scrubbing area for, and you actually see them. What dance is it called? Like twisting, yeah, like the twisting dance. And it exactly look like that. If you just need to have an imaginary music with it, and you will feel that, yeah, exactly how they are performing out there, or they are just dancing by just only scratching their back. With that, they have almost like a human footprint. So with the tiger tracks, even if you get some fresh tracks of a bear, then you can follow the track, and you may reach out, but it's very difficult if they are not like close to the track to see them. And also if it is quiet, sometimes you see sometimes you get to hear the brushing of the forest floor, and just keep yourself calm and very quiet. You might get to see that the bear is coming out, and they are the only bear which piggyback their cubs, like almost till 9 months. And it's, you know, it's like for the protection, and also for the easy transport for the next place, or for the next mount. It's easy, though other bear, they do climb on mama's back, but they do carry it till 9 months, imagine. So yeah, they're mostly like nocturnal as well as the crepuscular, but you can see bear any time of the day. And with that, there we move towards the northeastern side, which is the Kaziranga National Park, where you get to see our giant is the Asian elephant. And of course, they live in herds. And over here, as the Brahmaputra floodplain, we have this elephant grass, which can be tall as 17 to 19 feet. So you can see how tall it is. Sometimes it hides the elephants. There are few more. Actually, there were 7 out here, but we could, I mean, later they came out, but initially we could see only this one, and you can see a little gray part over here. And yes, the bull has a bigger incisor, I mean the tusk. The female will grow the small one. And here we have in the grassland of Kaziranga, like huge, they would be in the woodland as well, where they were moving. This is the grazing time For them, the whole family is here, even some babies out here too. And see, this is near the woodland, and they were like crossing. This elephant were even was like, yeah, she was almost moved ahead to check the path, and this female and the other female out here was protecting these little ones and moving ahead. Almost 21 elephants were there. And of course, for the African and Asian elephant, they have two lips like this tips where they need to, because in savannas, in grassland, they are small, but over here they're big grasses, so they need to hold with the trunk to pull it off. So they don't have this two tip, only one tip they have. For the Asian elephant, they have 5 toe in the front. For the African, they have 4, and of course they are very big with a bigger ear, with a hinge, the concave part of its back. This is the Asian are more roundish, and yeah, you will get to see them. Here in India, you will find the forest department people are using elephants because a few roads are inaccessible by on foot or by vehicle. So there the elephant go with the department. You see there is another one behind it to check, to look around the forest, that whatever is happening around. And here the elephant with the cup, this is a captive elephant. They are carrying their own food, and the babies are like accompanying the mother. It looks a happy kid. I do have the video of it. And of course, you get a good interaction with the elephant when you give the elephant a bath. If the elephants are available, you get a chance to give them a bath. And see, I mean, initially, all of them were here. I think Marcy over here. Yeah, initially everyone was moving with the phone to take pictures, but you know that enjoyment could not keep them away from the elephant. So we all were near and giving it a scrub, and she loves it. And yeah, the baby is learning to move around, feed with the mother. And just see it, how pretty it looks like. Yeah, so this is a water hyacinth area. Of course, it's a summertime, the water bodies are almost dried up, so this is how you get to see it's almost dried up areas, and they are munching on it. With this one giant, we have another one, and also the showstopper of the Kaziranga National Park, I always mention, the greater one-horned rhino. And Kaziranga National Park has the highest number of this species population. So yeah, there are high chances you get to see them. Their very unique feature is mostly the armored body and the way they live in the swamps, and they keep on feeding and feeding and feeding. I mean, there hardly I get to see rhinos who is not munching on water hyacinths, on grass, or browsing. Yeah, and this armored body looks definitely fascinating. And look at this. This is an old fellow out here behind the grassland. So even they hide behind this grass area. But their eyesight and hearing is not, I mean, especially eyesight is not that good. But these birds around really help. Any kind of movement and all, they fly and they get alert. But their smelling sense is incredible. Look at this, and they have this protruding lip, like the upper lip. Especially, they need to hold the grass and tear them off, and that's how the feature is, depending on the food habit. And when you move across, you see this maiden. If you see some fresh dung, you know that the rhino is around. And this fresh dung, or the dung pile, which is called a maiden, is very important for the rhinos to communicate with other rhinos, because they leave their scents through their hooves, which comes out from the hooves, and that's how they communicate and coordinate with the other group, or other. They are solitary, but that's how they communicate. Yeah, and this is how you find them. And on the on the edges of the water, and mostly they will even get down into the water. We don't have hippos, but the rhinos, you will find them almost like half of their body is covered with mud, and they are especially in summer, you will get to see them like that. So always very muddy and black, and see how much they have coated themselves. It's like a sunscreen for them. And yeah, of course, during they become very aggressive during the mating time. Of course, when there is a territorial fight. Last during in Nepal Bhutan trip, we got to face, I mean not face, we got to witness a fight between, a friendly fight maybe, between the two rhinos right in front of our vehicle. And yes, though it is a very, we don't get to see rhinos mating quite often, but we were lucky enough to get to see this. And this is a tiny little baby. This one is only 14 days old, and it's following the mother in the grassland area. And yes, with the rhinos, this land is also shared by the water buffaloes. And this is our next animal, which is a water buffalo. Look at the horn. My God, it's huge. And do you know what? I mean, especially before we even getting into water buffalo, let me tell you, so they are so big that the gap between these two horns sometimes be 4 to 5 feet. It's huge. And when they like stand, they can be almost 6 feet, you know, like shoulder of height. The bigger ones are. And with these horns only, they like fight, and they get injured badly among themselves. And this oops, yeah, and the same thing, like they love to wallow themselves. So you will see them like on the ground in the slushy area and munching around. And also you will be able to see them in group, where they will protect the cubs, and the male would be somewhere nearby to keep an eye on the full herd. And they are very, very aggressive, and it's very unpredictable. You hardly get to know that, you know, it's taking a step. So it's always better, for when it's a water buffalo, it is always better that you stay a little far. You know, as long as we see them from a distance is good. And yes, look at this. If this kind of horns are like, and they are fighting, just imagine. They have, you can see the ribs out there, but they're very strong. I mean, when you see it in front, it's huge. I mean, and they really can grow up to like 1200 kgs, 1.2 tons. And the female can grow up to 700 to 800. So yeah, that's how you can imagine the size, of course. And look at this. I'll just show the horn size, because this is the most fascinating part of this water buffalo. This is a big male. And yeah, when during the fight, as I was mentioning, they actually injure themselves so bad. In the last season, we got to see one water buffalo, like blood was oozing out, but it was little dry. But there's so much of flies were moving. Poor guy, he could not even move much. But it's a national park. The animals are left like it should be the natural, you know, nature's call to make it survive or not. Survival of the fittest. And this is how they fight. And you can hear them. Look at the muscles. My gosh. Yep. With that, our last one, and another favorite. I mean, I can watch them for years after years. Just maybe a single one, I can watch them. They are so fascinating. The hoolock gibbons, the one and only ape in India. And they are arboreal and spend like most of their lifetime on the top of the tree. They especially need unbroken forest, a canopy to move around. And the movement, because they have like, you know, long, this is especially, sorry, this is a male, which is black in color with the white eyebrows. And this is a female with a tan tan color, and the face looks more like this, a whitish round out there. And they have long, slender arms by which they swing like from one canopy to another canopy, and it's super fast, and they're very strong. They can hang with the even with the baby uh, into those branches. I feel that they are the ruler of the canopy, as how I can say the tigers are the ruler of the jungle of this forest. The same thing happened for this one. And they are monogamous, so they kind of stay together. This is the only place where you get to see this western hoolock gibbon, and this side you get to see the eastern hoolock gibbon, and then they have a little spread out over here. And with that, the pair would have one infant or one offspring in 2-3 years, and it will stick around till 7 to 10 years in the family. Then it will move out after it gains its sexual maturity at the age of 8 to 9. And they are mainly like, and why it's a favorite, it's their activity, and the most important thing or the most encouraging thing is to see them or to feel them is their call. You know, the evergreen forest they need, you see the canopy, this kind of canopy they live in, and their call, once they start, once the sun shines on the top of the canopy and the female starts its call, you know, like, oh, come on, get up, you need to get to the work. I mean, that's how they communicate between the other families in the far away canopy, that which area they are foraging or where they are going, or this is how the communication happen. But this 2-3 gibbon can give a call where the whole forest in that patch really wakes up. And with that, they are frugivores. They're mainly frugivores, but they feed on young leaves, shoots, ripe fruit, see, unripe fruit and flower. And only 1% of the insects, maybe a little addition of the protein part. And yes, with this gibbon, they are also, I mean, declining in number. Rather, Western hoolock gibbon are among the 25 most endangered primate species in the world. Like, number have declined by 90% since 1990s. Imagine. And that is also happening by destruction, degradation, and fragmentation of the habitat. And of course, because of the human population, because of the demand, the agriculture, logging, fuel, wood collection, development of projects like mines, road, and railways. And of course, poaching is also there for food as well as for trade. Imagine all these things are there when you get to see these animals near. We have even less than 3,000 gibbons are left in the wild, and that is also they cannot survive where there is not a continuous canopy, because they don't move, they don't come down. Even the drink water which is stored on the new leaves or in the cup of the tree trunks. So yes, so the more you know, we are aware of the thing, I think the conservation do happen and the forests live happy. And yes, the animals along with them. And if the animals live, we would be happy to see them in their natural habitat. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, Rob, but I'm ready to take up some questions if possible.
All right, thank you, Arpita. Now, before we start in with the question and answer session, I would like to remind everyone that you can submit your questions via the question field in the control panel. All right, let's get to some of these questions. So with those Jeeps that are all open, can that be dangerous for the guests?
No, this would be this all Jeeps are open, and there is no, I mean, nothing has happened, because of course we maintain this ethics and you know, the rules and regulations, where, and we completely, like, we absolutely are like guide and everything according to the rules. So even if the animal is very close, you would see a lot of vehicles is moving ahead, we kind of stick to the safest, because safety is the first thing in any protocol we are following. So you can be rest assured, nothing would happen.
Great, thank you very much. So how tall do the deer grow?
There's the swamp deer.
Yes, the first
Yeah,
deer
so
we.
if you stand like from your shoulder, it's like 3.5 feet, 3.5 to 4 feet.
Great, thank you. So how long do tiger cubs stay with their mother?
That's a good question. Okay, so they can be with the mother, especially the male can be there to 17 to 18 months, because even sometimes 2 years. But because after that, the male starts dispersing from the female or from the siblings. But the female, depending on the characteristic though, but most of the time it has been seen the female stick around with mother for like 2.5 to even sometimes 3 years.
Great, thanks for addressing that. So how does a rhino's skin feel? Is it like an elephant's skin, similar or harder?
It is hard. It is harder, or I mean, it's same like the elephant skin, but of course near the folds and all they have double layered. Yeah, but their skin is hard, tough, and thick. But they have one of the most sensitive skin, just like the elephant.
Great, interesting. So
Yeah.
do we know why leopards are more populous? Is it due to their ability to hunt better than some other animals?
The popularity.
Uh, why are they more populous? Why are there
Okay,
is a larger population?
okay, they are popular. I think because of the distribution of it, so they're most not only the Indian leopard, but also around the world there are different species of leopard. Almost 8 species of leopards are there, and it's well spread around. So it is one of the largest cat where you can see quite often in many parts or different parts of the world. That makes it more, like available cats among the big cats. And at the same time, in this kind of forest, the popularity, more than the popularity, it is very rare. So if you get to see a leopard, I mean, you get to see tigers, but it's very hard to come across a leopard. So that's make, I think the difficulty of sighting makes it more, wanted cat.
Gotcha, thank you. So Arpita, have you ever seen a pangolin in the wild?
Yes, I did. I have seen both the species uh, which we have in India.
So the trip is scheduled usually from December through April. Can you tell us how hot it is at that time of year?
December to February, March, it is good. April to May would be really hot. Sometimes, I mean, the temperature can rise up to 44 to 40, yeah, 45 degrees centigrade. Okay, now Fahrenheit. Can you change that?
That is something around like 85, 90 degrees. Is that correct?
Yeah, just thank you so much, Rob.
My pleasure. Well, unfortunately, Arpita, that is going to be the last question that we do have time for
Okay.
today. So I would like to hand it to you for your closing comments.
Just one thing regarding the temperature I would like to say. So even if you are coming here in summer, you don't need to worry, because in summer the parks open early, and and before it gets really hot, we are back into the lodges. So it is not uncomfortable when you are in the park. Okay, that's it.
Great, thank you. And do you have any closing comments for us today, Arpita?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to me, and for asking me questions. That is more fun. And it took a little long, and I had to rush also. But thank you so much for being here. And hope to see you all someday, either in the park or in the next webinar. And thank you so much, Rob, for hosting it so nicely.
Arpita, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and present for us. And I would also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. If you're interested in information on how you can travel with NatHab, Give us a call at the number on your screen, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us Monday for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out next week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.